Hello guys, welcome back. I hope everyone is doing great. I hope everyone is having a nice long weekend. It's a long weekend, or it was a long weekend for me, and I'm having a cup of coffee on a Sunday afternoon, and I want to talk about Ylang Ylang fragrances today. Ylang Ylang is used in fragrances all the time. It's used in conjunction with other florals. It's used all the time in fragrance. But what I want to talk about are fragrances that feature Ylang Ylang, where Ylang Ylang is prominent. And I have been on the hunt and on the search for great Ylang Ylang focused fragrances. It's a scent profile that's sort of a little tropical and evokes summer sort of vibes, and it's perfect for the warm weather. Ylang Ylang is a creamy floral and fragrance. It can have hints of fruitiness. It can be banana-like as well. It can have hints of florals that are similar to the way jasmine smells in fragrance. I feel like it's usually very, very creamy, and when it's prominent in fragrances, I really enjoy the scent profile, depending on how it's done, of course. I love it for the warm weather, and it just sort of creates a scent profile that feels tropical, that feels beachy. And we're going to talk about just 4 today. One of them is just a sample that almost turned into a full bottle. I'm really enjoying all 4 of them. They each bring a different aspect of a Ylang Ylang prominent fragrance to the table. Each is just a little bit different from the other. I do have a favorite. We'll talk about which one is my favorite at the end. And you guys can suggest Ylang Ylang fragrances in the comments that you feel that I should get my nose on and that you guys are liking. So let's start with the first one from the House of Guerlain, and this is Umbran de Ylang. And Umbran, and I know I'm not saying that correctly, it's a difficult word to pronounce. Umbran means sea spray, so that's what it translates to, sea spray of Ylang. And this fragrance was released in 2019. It's an eau de parfum concentration, and I have a 100 ml size bottle. It's really pretty with the peach cording, and their packaging is just really nice. And I've come to the conclusion that although I know the House of Guerlain can be controversial, the L'Art de la Matière line of fragrances are super expensive. Some people are at the point where they're offended by the prices. I do think that they know how to compose a fragrance. Not every single one is my favorite. I'm not loving every single one from the house, but they really do know how to compose a fragrance, in my opinion. This one is a Ylang Ylang fragrance, and it is a beautiful Ylang Ylang fragrance at that. This one has salty notes, it has bergamot, it has clove, it has the Ylang Ylang, it has jasmine. Often Ylang Ylang seems to be paired with jasmine in a lot of these Ylang Ylang prominent fragrances. It opens up almost a little salty. It opens a little fresh from the bergamot. You get that hint in the fragrance. It opens a little spiced. There's the clove that adds some interest. So the fragrance opens up quite interesting. You get that it's a Ylang Ylang fragrance. The Ylang Ylang starts to come through, and it is so creamy. It is so lush. I don't feel that the Ylang Ylang in this one goes in the banana-like direction. I have seen this compared to Tom Ford's Black Orchid. I can see how there is something in here. Not that this smells like Black Orchid, but I can see how there's a little something in here that's a little reminiscent of the Tom Ford scent profile, just a little bit. This is absolutely stunning. There is something almost a little aquatic from that salty note that absolutely plays a role in the way the fragrance sort of comes off and develops, and the way it contrasts this very lush, tropical Ylang Ylang note in here. The jasmine is definitely prominent to my nose as well, so it probably sort of supports the floral aspects of the Ylang Ylang. And like I said, I don't get the banana-like sort of hints from the Ylang Ylang in this one. I do from some of the other ones, but It's also a little musky, but that salty note in here is perfect. It is perfect against this sort of floral, creamy aspect of the fragrance. It feels like I've been in the sun all day and I come home and I am applying something a little of like a tropical Ylang Ylang like body oil. The way it sits on skin, it's done in such an elevated way. There's nothing super bright, super banana-like, super juvenile about this Ylang Ylang. It's really done in a very sophisticated manner. Ylang Ylang has sort of that tropical vibe, and that can definitely come off like a beachy sort of fragrance, like a casual, beachy fragrance, like something that you just grab and spray. This one is a little more elevated. This one is smooth. This one tones down sort of that beachy vibe, but at the same time, you do have it. You do have that tropical sort of image. You do have the sun that comes along with the Ylang Ylang in a fragrance, that sunshine, the sort of summer beachy weather. It hints at that in an elevated sort of way, if that makes sense. It sits on skin like an after the sun sort of body oil. It has sort of that feel. When it dries down, I feel like it's this beautiful kind of musky, subdued Ylang Ylang, like I've been at the beach type of fragrance that sort of like softly wafts off the skin. I feel like it has like a muskiness to it that's so enjoyable. And like I said, I don't feel that the Ylang Ylang in here goes into a banana-like direction or anything that feels super casual. I feel like they created a Ylang Ylang fragrance that is wearable day or night, sort of a fragrance that you would wear after being at the beach all day and you slip on a summer dress for the evening. That's what I imagine with this one. So I'm really enjoying this from the House of Guerlain. It's a very nice one. I did put somewhat of a dent, considering the size of my collection at this point. This is a dent, and I'm loving this one. So the next one is a sample here, and this is a little decant of Lastre by the House of Le Galion, which is a house that I've been wanting to delve into. So I started with this one, and it's an old house. I don't know exactly what year it dates back to, but it's an old perfume house. And this one is a Ylang Ylang prominent fragrance. So this one opens up much more spiced and much more bright than the Guerlain. There's cardamom in here, there are other spices, there's ginger in here, so it's a little zingy from that. And it takes a few minutes before the Ylang Ylang comes through and you realize that it's a fragrance with a prominent Ylang Ylang note. And I feel like there's a little bit more sweetness in this one in comparison to the Guerlain. And it's definitely a brighter, more spiced, aromatic sort of take on Ylang Ylang. It's a little bit more perfumey. The Guerlain comes off dusty and oily, like I've been at the beach all day and I have sun-kissed skin, and I have this Ylang Ylang fragrance that enhances my sun-kissed skin. This one doesn't quite give me that image, although it's very pretty. It's pretty, it opens up, it's a little more spiced and zingy and fresh in the opening. And then the Ylang Ylang comes through and you get that it's a Ylang Ylang fragrance. It does give you that tropical vibe. You get that banana-like hint to the Ylang Ylang in here. And I feel that this one sort of dries down to something a little bit powdery and a little bit sweeter than something like the Guerlain. It loses the opulence from the opening to the dry down. So it sort of dries down to this like simple, almost slightly sweetened, slightly powdery Ylang Ylang. It's not as opulent and spiced as it is in the opening. But it is a pretty one, and it is one where you detect and you recognize that it's Ylang Ylang. You feel like you have a white floral. There's jasmine complementing the Ylang Ylang in here as well. You do feel that you're getting the white floral slash creaminess of the Ylang Ylang. It does give a tropical sort of vibe. It's just a little more subdued and powdery, and it's not as lush. It's not as opulent, is what I would say. But it is a nice one. So that's Lastre by the House of Le Galion. So the next one, unfortunately, is a discontinued fragrance. I'll just quickly touch upon it. This is from the House of Amouage, the library collection. This is Opus 3. It is so opulent. It's what Amouage used to do. I don't know why they discontinued these fragrances. The library collection has some beautiful, stunning compositions. This one does have a lot going on, but Ylang Ylang is definitely prominent, so I think it's pretty fair to include this in this lineup. There is jasmine in here, there are spices, there is ginger, and there's this beautiful Ylang Ylang. It opens up very floral, and it's bright. And like I said, it's opulent, it's rich, it's almost syrupy. There is frankincense in here as well, and there's gaiac wood, and it's just the layered, sort of multi-dimensional, typical Amouage fragrance from yesteryear. And this one is a stunner, a stunner. The Ylang Ylang, like I said, is complemented by this jasmine, so you have this beautiful, syrupy, full-bodied floral that is complemented by the frankincense that runs through the fragrance, the ginger, the vetiver, the saffron for some spice. And then in the base, you have rum, and you have benzoin, and you have balsams. So it almost feels leathery. I almost feel a texture. It's absolutely stunning. I have the dry down here on my left arm. It's so beautiful. It's a gorgeous one. So unfortunately, it's discontinued, but it is Ylang Ylang sort of focused fragrance with a lot more going on for an opulent take on Ylang Ylang. So the next one is from the House of Diptyque, and this is O Moheli. This is the old packaging that may have been discontinued, but the fragrance itself is still in production, so you can definitely get this. And this is a great one, and it's also a great one in terms of value, as is Lastre. Both of them can be had at discounters, so I think they're both great fragrances and can be had for great prices, I think. So this one is a Ylang Ylang forward fragrance, and I really enjoy this. I've been wearing it quite often, even though the bottle doesn't really have a dent. So this one doesn't open up as dewy as the Guerlain. I go back to the Guerlain, which is the most dewy and not as bright as some of the other ones like Lastre, and not as bright as this one. This one has a zing to it in the opening. There's pink pepper and there's ginger in here, so it's more of a bright opening. It's a summery fragrance. You get that it's Ylang Ylang. It comes right through. It's really great. There's a lot of citrus that sort of complements the creamy, lush Ylang Ylang that does have the banana-like aspects, unlike the Guerlain. This one, similar to Lastre, also has the hints, the nuances of that banana-like fruitiness that come along with the creamy Ylang Ylang. And it just feels like you should be on the beach, under the sun, sipping something refreshing, citrus, a cold drink, and it's just beautiful. There's something almost a little lactonic about this as well. It's really great, and I enjoy wearing this as a daytime fragrance. Like I said, I feel like the Guerlain is like an elevated take on a Ylang Ylang scent profile, and it's so unique with the salty note, with that aquatic salty note to contrast. It's beautifully done. This one is more similar to Lastre, where you get the banana-like sort of aspect, and it seems more casual and it's brighter. And I feel like it's a wonderful everyday summer reach, for me at least, if you enjoy the type of scent profile. I like it. Like I said, there's something almost milky or lactonic, almost like a coconut aspect to the fragrance as I'm smelling it off the blotter. It's really nice, and there's something woody in the background. So I think the vetiver is adding a depth to the fragrance. I think the vetiver is offsetting sort of the fruitiness and the brightness that comes along with the Ylang Ylang, so that it's not super floral or super banana-like or super tropical. Although it is a summer fragrance, for sure. It definitely has a summer scent profile. It's great. I feel like I should be on vacation on a beach somewhere. So that's it, guys. These are 4 Ylang Ylang prominent fragrances. There's one by the House of Zoologists called Chameleon. I purchased a bottle and there was something damaged about the sprayer, and I ended up having to send it back. When I sprayed it, it was leaking and it was just a mess, and I never purchased another bottle to replace it. But that one is a Ylang Ylang prominent fragrance, and that one, like the Guerlain, I felt was sort of a second skin, like your skin, but better after a day at the beach. And it was just very nice and subdued, and I thought Chameleon was a pretty one. So that's another Ylang Ylang fragrance to consider. So there is always more to explore. And I do enjoy Ylang Ylang forward fragrances. Too bad Le Labo's Ylang 49 is a cheaper fragrance and is not a Ylang Ylang fragrance. I love Le Labo. It's a house that I'm totally delving into again, that I used to be into, and now I'm back on that path of delving into Le Labo fragrances, but that one is not a Ylang Ylang prominent fragrance. So let me know in the comments what Ylang Ylang fragrances you guys like and are familiar with, and if you know any of these that we spoke about in today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching, your support, and your comments. Until next time, bye guys.